Hello students, in this video session let us understand impulse invariant transformation. This is another method available apart from bilinear transformation which you have already understood. This is a method available to convert analog filter H of S into digital filter H of Z. Okay. It makes use of partial fraction expansion. You should understand that it should make use of partial fraction expansion. And Z is equal to e raised to st is the defining equation in case of impulse invariant transformation. You know that in bilinear transformation, the relationship between S and Z was S is equal to 2 by t 1 minus Z raised to minus 1 divided by 1 plus Z raised to minus 1. Here the relationship between Z and S is defined by Z is equal to e raised to st. This is very important. Z is equal to e raised to st. Okay. Let us derive out the impulse invariant transformation equation. Let us start with analog filter equation. Okay. You know that analog filter H of S is given by 1 divided by S minus S naught, S minus S1, S minus S2 and so on, correct? Here 1 I have taken, okay? Now this H of S whatever is there, no? I will use partial fraction expansion. Use partial fraction expansion. How I can write H of S? Because it comes as a summation, isn't it? H of S is equal to C naught divided by S minus S naught plus C1 divided by S minus S1 plus C2 divided by S minus S2 plus so on, correct? So on. I can write in a compact manner like this. I hope you can understand this. Summation I is equal to 0 to n minus 1 Ci whole divided by S minus Si, correct? The same above equation, I have written it in a complex summation manner, that's all, okay? Compact manner. Let us take this as equation 1, okay? Where Si, you know that it is pole position. Si here S0, S1, S2 etc. are pole positions, nothing more than that, pole positions which you have already done in case of butterworth, correct? Now let us, H of S is resulted in this manner, okay? Let us take this above equation to time domain, okay? Taking above equation to time domain, that means I will find out H of t from H of S. H of t is equal to C naught e raised to S naught t plus C1 e raised to S1 t plus so on, correct? So on. That means you know that the same H of S equation, equation 1, I can write in this manner. H of t is equal to summation I is equal to 0 to n minus 1 Ci e raised to Sit. I hope you understood. What I have done is one, you know that so as to take any equation from H of S to H of t, I have simply used here if 1 divided by S minus A is there, how to convert it? E raised to At, isn't it? That equation I have used. E raised to At, E raised to Sit I have used. Nothing more than that. Nothing more than that. Right. I will continue here. Now H of t is this. This is the time domain equation. I will sample the above equation. Okay. Sampling above equation. This is important. Sampling above equation. That means wherever t is there, I will put nt. When you are sampling above equation or H of t equation, it becomes H of n. That's all. It becomes digital. H of n is equal to summation I is equal to 0 to n minus 1 Ci e raised to Si t, instead of t I will put nt. That's all. I will put nt. Right? This became h of n. This became h of n. Now let me take this as equation 2. Equation 2. Now you know that I want to find h of z. You know h of z equation. H of z is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to infinity h of n z raised to minus n. This is a very famous equation which you know. H of z. H of z is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to infinity h of n z raised to minus n. Minus infinity to infinity, but I have taken it from 0 to infinity, taken positive signal only, h of n. Now h of n I substitute from above equation. Hence h of z becomes equal to summation n is equal to 0 to infinity h of n. Instead of h of n I have to substitute equation 2, isn't it? Equation 2. That means I is equal to 0 to n minus 1 ci e raised to si nt z raised to minus n. Z raised to minus n. Now what I do is I will bring this I equation outside and take this inside. It becomes equal to summation I is equal to 0 to n minus 1 ci summation n is equal to 0 to infinity e raised to si nt z raised to minus n. Okay, I hope you understood what I have done. I took this equation outside, that's all. Now it became summation I is equal to 0 to n minus 1 ci. Now e raised to si nt z raised to minus n. You know what exactly you have to do here. Summation n is equal to 0 to infinity. I will just keep n outside. It became e raised to si t z raised to minus 1 whole raised to n. Right? Whole raised to n. Right. This is very famous. You know already, alpha raised to n. Alpha raised to n. This equation you can simplify, because summation alpha raised to n becomes equal to 1 divided by 1 minus alpha. From signals and system onwards you have come across this equation, right? When I simplify this, it becomes something like this. Summation I is equal to 0 to n minus 1 ci. This completely becomes 1 divided by 1 minus alpha. Alpha is e raised to sit z raised to minus 1, right? Minus 1. That means I can simply take this as summation I is equal to 0 to n minus 1 z raised to minus 1. I will take it as 1 by z. When I take it as 1 by z, z minus e raised to, like that it becomes simplified to something like z whole divided by z minus e raised to sit. Correct? SIT. Let us go to the next board. Continuing from the previous board, we have left over here h of z is equal to summation I is equal to 0 to n minus 1 ci z divided by z minus e raised to sit. Okay, I will just continue at this point. If I expand this equation, or if I compare this equation with this, okay, this equation with this, what happens is ci, okay, ci s z si, where it is there instead of si here, where pole position is there, no, instead of that e raised to sit is there, isn't it? You see here, I just expand h of z. H of z is equal to, from this equation, c naught z divided by z minus e raised to s naught t plus c1 z divided by z minus e raised to s1 t plus c2 z divided by z minus e raised to s2t plus so on it continues. Continues. Okay. Whereas this is the pole position in case of z domain. This is the pole position in case of s domain. See here, I can just write above equation like this also. C naught z divided by z minus z naught plus C1 z divided by z minus z1 plus so on. Okay. Now let me compare this equation with corresponding our h of s equation. Okay, h of s equation. See here, s, let us only concentrate on the denominator. S minus s naught is there, z minus z naught is there. What is z naught actually? E raised to s naught t. The meaning here is, in h of s domain, suppose s naught is there, in h of z domain, the same s naught is transformed into e raised to s naught t. E raised to s naught t. That's what is the meaning. Okay. Whatever s naught is present in, or any pole if you consider, s1 is there means e raised to s1t when it goes to z domain. That's how both are related with each other. Or I can say that what is z naught? Z naught is e raised to s naught t. What is z1? E raised to s1t. Like that. Hence zi, I can say that e raised to sit. This is the defining equation. Or simply I can write down z is equal to e raised to st. This is the defining equation in case of impulse invariant transformation. Okay, this is very important. How I derived out? I started with analog filter, which was given by 1 divided by s minus s naught, s minus s1, s minus s2. Then used partial fraction expansion, c naught divided by s minus s naught plus c1 divided by s minus s1. Okay, and took that equation to time domain so as to find out h of t, and I sampled it with t is equal to nt. And that sampled version, or h of n, I took it into h of z by applying h of z equation, and then compared h of z with h of s. I got z is equal to e raised to st. Okay, this is what is the relationship between, or a derivation of relationship between z and s in case of impulse invariant transformation. Okay, if you are having any doubts, you can raise this in your group so that I can clarify it. Thank you. Let us go ahead with the mapping between S domain and Z domain, which is also very important, which is mainly based on Z is equal to e raised to st equation. Okay, continuing from the previous board, let us understand the mapping between S domain and Z domain. You already know what is mapping. Mapping means how a point in S domain is transferred to a point in Z domain. That is the discussion in case of mapping between S domain and Z domain. Okay. You already have come across this equation. S is equal to sigma plus j omega, and Z is equal to re raised to jw, where Z domain, whatever we are discussing, it is defined by a unit circle, and this is S domain, okay, where pole positions are there. What is the defining equation in case of impulse invariant transformation? Z is equal to e raised to st, isn't it? Now let us put these values. Z is equal to re raised to jw, e raised to s. S is equal to sigma plus j omega into t. If I expand this, re raised to jw is equal to e raised to sigma t plus e raised to j not plus into, because into e raised to j omega t. Comparing both sides, r becomes equal to e raised to sigma t and w becomes equal to omega t. This is the relationship between the magnitude and frequency. R is equal to e raised to sigma t, w is equal to omega t. What is the corresponding understanding from this? let us consider this first. R is equal to e raised to sigma t. Let us consider the first point here, sigma, whatever is there, no, sigma in S domain, we will consider negative. Negative means somewhere here, right? I shall consider a point A which is negative, which is on the left half plane, I shall call. When sigma is negative, e raised to minus t, hence r becomes smaller than 1, isn't it? R becomes smaller than 1. That implies that if a point A is in left half plane of S domain, where it is transformed or it is mapped, transformed into a point within unit circle in Z domain. Obviously, this point A, where it comes somewhere here. I don't know, wherever it is, point A. This point A, which was there in negative side, it is transformed to here, right? What about second point? Second point is there a B. B I will consider in the right half plane here somewhere, in the positive side. When positive side, and if it is e raised to sigma t, when it is positive and more than 1, what happens is the radius becomes more than 1, isn't it? More than 1. Hence, if a point B is in the right half plane, where it is transformed outside the circle, somewhere here. This is how the point B comes. Point B comes outside the circle, isn't it? Outside the circle. Hence, if a point B is in right half plane and more than 1, of S domain, it is mapped into a point outside unit circle in Z domain. The same points we have observed in case of bilinear transformation also. The third is j omega axis. So as to understand j omega axis, what happens is, see, r sigma is equal to 0. If you put, that becomes j omega axis, but r becomes equal to 1. Sigma is equal to 0 implies me that r becomes equal to 1. That means circumference of our unit circle. But if I see this equation, w is equal to omega t, there is a problem in what way? W, whatever is there, that can be between minus pi to pi. It can be between minus pi to pi. Hence, but omega, whatever is there, that can be anything between infinity, minus infinity to infinity. Hence, here a peculiar thing takes place. Peculiar thing means our j omega axis is transformed in such a way that it transforms between pi by t to minus pi by t, whatever is there. This strip, it is transformed into a one circle. Again, how? If I consider the next strip, minus 2 pi by t to plus 2 pi by t, plus 2 pi by t to minus 2 pi by t, it is transformed again into the circle. That means it transforms into a strip of pi to minus pi. That means 2 pi strip is transformed into circle. Next 2 pi strip is transformed into circle. We call this as aliasing effect. Hence, there is no linear transformation between frequency in case of impulse invariant transformation. That's what is happening. This complete strip, whatever is there, that is transformed into the circle. But it transforms into circumference of circle only. There is no problem at all. This is how the mapping between our S domain and Z domain takes place in case of impulse invariant transformation. I hope you understood this. These three are important. Very simple equation. Z is equal to e raised to st. In this defining equation, you are supposed to put the value Z is equal to re raised to jw and S sigma plus j omega. If you put, you will understand these 3 points. Okay, a point on the left half plane within unit circle, a point in right half plane more than one outside unit circle. Okay, j omega axis circumference. Okay, but circumference in terms of strips of minus pi to pi. That is very important. Okay, thank you. If you are having any doubts in the theory of our impulse invariant transformation, you can contact me regarding this. Okay.